Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Maria Fielder, and I'm the Director of Learning, Training and Development here at Comm100, and I'm joined by my colleague Chad for today's webinar.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chad Weiss, and I'm one of the AI architects here at Comm100. I'm also a product expert on the AI products that we're going to be covering today.
So today we're going to be looking at 3 new AI products that we're really excited about. Our AI Copilot, AI Insights, and AI Quality Assurance. As many of you know, Comm100 has always been about bringing every customer conversation, whether that be live chat, voice, email, social channels, into one unified platform. And today's webinar is focusing on the next layer on top of that, so that we can not only route conversations, but actively help your agents, your managers, your leaders, and ultimately your end users too. Over the next 15 minutes or so, we're going to provide a high-level overview of these new products. And if there's anything you're interested in or you're curious to know more, please do feel free to reach out to either your account manager or our support team, and we'd be happy to assist you further. So for today's agenda, we're going to talk a little bit about why AI matters now, and really what you're missing out on if you don't take that step. We'll then go into a little bit more in-depth information and a bit of a demo on the AI Copilot, which is really about empowering agents in real time, that internal virtual assistant. Before moving on to our AI Insights, where we turn those conversations into strategic actions. So being able to focus on, for example, conversion opportunities, retention, risks that you might identify, those key business insights that you really want to track and then take action on. And then finally, we'll take a look at the AI quality assurance. So how you can elevate your service quality at scale rather than relying on those manual processes that we know often aren't the most reliable and many things slip through the cracks. And then to finish off, we'll talk about some of the next steps if you're curious to see more and would like maybe a more in-depth demo or just further information.
Perfect. So why does AI matter today? In the world we live in, there's a lot of key challenges we have that these 3 products are going to aim to address. Of course, AI Copilot is the very first one we'll look at here, and it's going to challenge all of your customer service hurdles, those rising expectations, limited resources that you might have, all the different growing complexity on your side between knowledge, increasing pressure that your team has to deal with, new products and procedures they might need to go through, anything and everything to envelop your team and making sure the agents have resources in real time. We've got our AI Insights to help manage the trade-off between the speed, quality, and results that you might see, giving little insights and a peek into the past chat transcripts that you have, as well as our AI Quality Assurance to go in and look at how you can scale improvement across your entire service operations and gain more insight into some of the good things that have been happening throughout.
Mm-hmm. And I would definitely say that a key thing from our side is that all of these features or products that have been built have been based on real customer feedback across industries, working with different types of end users. So whether that's a client, a customer, a student, a player, all of these things are relevant. Organizations, small and large, are encountering the same challenges, and they're against the challenges of resource and cost. So we've really created these to try and help address those. The AI Copilot, AI Insights, and AI QA are not just individual solutions. They're really designed to be used together. Of course, they can operate independently, but to really create a continuous cycle of improvement, it works best when they're grouped. Different stakeholders can benefit. So whether that's the agents, for example, that receive real-time support through the AI Copilot, getting suggestions for responses to customer inquiries, improving their responses with the grammar and spelling, changing the tone of the content, or whether it's leaders who are able to gain more actionable customer and performance intelligence. Say we specifically want to grow in a certain direction, or we have a challenge with a certain customer segment that we're trying to really address. The insights are a great way of being able to track that data and make sure that action is taken to improve. And then, for example, with the QA, the managers gain the visibility not only to the performance of their teams, but also then are provided with coaching tools so that that feedback loop can be completed and the agents know how to improve, rather than being just provided with some generic or maybe inconsistent feedback based on manual processes that teams are using.
So let's look at what some of those key challenges actually are that our AI Copilot looks to actually empower your agents in real time and resolve. So the number one is always going to be onboarding and training, whether that's a new person coming in or new content that you're bringing into the team that people need to get up to speed on. They either have to have that monitor on the side that they're constantly researching and referencing. We'll show you how we resolve that. If somebody leaves, moves to another organization or within different departments, ultimately your team size is going to fluctuate as time goes on. That's knowledge transfer and loss that will need to get picked up and people need to come in and be able to understand and work through. All of that is also going to be involved when it comes to those senior agents knowing how to break down a complex topic into friendly content for individuals. We'll show you how our AI Copilot does all that in real time and can even give you a bulleted list of items. And of course, there's the inconsistency with people either putting in just very short comments and knowledge items, checking the boxes that make maybe the most sense, but not are the best solution for those checkboxes in your wrap up to get that process moving forward in an automated fashion.
Mm-hmm. So how does AI Copilot help with those challenges that Chad just described? So one of the key things that he mentioned was training and onboarding. So the AI Copilot actually provides real-time suggestions, leveraging the knowledge that you have input into the platform. It also takes into consideration the conversation and the context. So if a end user has already referenced, say, for example, an order number, or they've referenced a course or something like that, it will take that into consideration and it's not going to ask them to repeat themselves. So it's going to be really tailored based on the information that they've already shared, which is really neat. Not only that, but say, for example, some of your content is technical, maybe instructions of how to do something, and it's not really in a format suitable to be delivered to your end user. With the AI Copilot, it will actually rephrase that and put it into a customer suitable format. So the agent doesn't have to think about how to rewrite it, think about the tone. We can do that for you. Leveraging all of that not only accelerates onboarding and kind of that learning and training process from, say, months, perhaps more so into weeks, because they can start interacting with your end users a lot earlier on because they have these suggestions appearing to them, which is pulling from the content that you've already approved and put into the system to be leveraged. It's accurate, it's up to date, and it's at their fingertips. So they don't need to ask others for help or spend time searching elsewhere. The fourth point there goes back to the wrap up that Chad mentioned. We often see scenarios where maybe an agent's in a rush and will just choose the first option rather than actually choosing the genuine category for that interaction. In this case, either the AI Copilot can suggest it, or it can actually not only suggest, but automatically save it. So it's up to you whether you want there to be a manual check by the agent or whether you just want the system to do it for you. Not only that, but we can have an automatic summary. So there can be a 3-point breakdown into how that is communicated, or not how it's communicated, but what happened in the chat. So the issue, the response, and the resolution. All of this really helps with accuracy and improves the quality of your reporting because the system is looking at the context and helping with that. And then also if we need to transfer any interactions, say from one team to another team, we have a summary that prevents them from having to read through all of the previous communication to understand what's happening.
Perfect. And then before we jump over to this next slide here, we do have a video that I'm going to walk through and talk about, but I just do want to preface that we're going to see both the what we call a preview side as well as the agent side. Most of the focus is going to be on agent, but I will call out when it's the preview. That's just our simulation of what a visitor looks like when they're interacting with the platform. So here we can see that preview page I was talking about. Whenever you see this, just think visitor. This is just so that we can have an interaction with our agent. This is the main focus of the conversation here. This is our agent console. You can already see that AI Copilot piece on the far right-hand side there. And what you might have missed was our agent here hovered over the question that the visitor had and clicked the little star icon, which immediately added it to the chat window on the bottom. So all our agent had to do was click send to effectively ask our AI Copilot the question that the visitor has asked. We're now seeing some similar chats that are being pulled up in the reference side here of the AI Copilot so that our agent can go in and see that past history, what might have been involved in there. One click button to bring it over into our composer, and very quickly there we just saw the edit pencil at the bottom to expand upon that simple message and make it more expansive just with our AI tools. So here what we're also seeing directly is you don't have to be using only the conversation that comes from the visitor. You can ask directly the AI Copilot what questions you need to further refine that content. So that could be, I need this item, this item, this item, and then maybe also give that to me in a bulleted list so that you can bring that over. And ultimately, it's a private area for your agents to interact with the AI Copilot directly and even see different references to documents and other information that you might have. We're seeing here you can send those references over directly or even add them to the composer if there's a slight edit you want to make. Maybe put a little tooltip beside it of here's what you can expect to see in this document or on this page. So lots of stuff we can see here, and we do see that editing tool here coming up again, this time to shorten the message to make it a little bit more concise rather than a full paragraph.
Next up, let's talk about AI insights and turning those conversations into strategic action. So many of the challenges that we hear about from our customers are that there are often really valuable business insights that happen, for example, in chats, but they often get missed because agents are quite busy doing multiple things at the same time. So maybe there's an opportunity, like there's say a churn risk, or maybe there's a sales opportunity, or maybe the adoption of a new service or a product that often the agent should take some action on, but it gets missed in the busyness of everyday operations. Or sometimes maybe that follow-up is based on a manual process where they note it down somewhere, but there's not an automated flow to ensure that some action is actually taken. A lot of this really relies on the agent and the capacity that they have, or also how they interpret whether something is an opportunity or is a risk or not, which can sometimes be quite difficult to recognize or quite subjective. And so the inconsistent nature of that, and also if people capture it and track it in different ways, means that often critical information is lost, unfortunately.
So then how does our AI insights help? So first off and foremost, it's going to automatically identify those opportunities and those retention risks. And these are all configurable on your side as well. You get to define what those are, how they're triggered, and what the overall description needs to match for them. We convert your customer conversations into those measurable business intelligent pieces. You're going to be able to track those customer trends, those issues, and those operations as well directly through your chat history, the same way that you might look at it all today. This is also going to surface those important signals and ensure they're acted upon, so you can easily go through, find exactly that signal, that spotlight is what we call them on our side here, and filter for just those conversations in a time window, maybe even throw in some other filters if needed. And this is also going to support your proactive follow-up. So your outreach retention, those promotional offers you need to find, escalations, those recurring customer issues or customer questions that might come up. Here we see a very simple screenshot. So this is broken up from the overall chat history to highlight these two pieces here for AI insights. We can see directly that our AI agent in this case passed it over to our human agent. They tried to ask what the question was, got the response back that this individual wants to start with the startup packet. That triggered our sales opportunity. I found this simply by going in, searching for those sales opportunity spotlights, clicking on one of them, and this is the one that we found. And at the very bottom of the ticket, we do also see our resolution status. So there's 4 different resolution statuses that can pop up, and this is another way to filter. Maybe you want to find specifically Those sales opportunities that are pending external, meaning the conversation ended, the person left before you got to that resolution status, or ones that were maybe just unresolved. They got to a point where something happened and nothing was able to come up as a resolution.
Next up, let's take a look at AI quality assurance. So elevating your service quality at scale. We know this is a big challenge for many organizations. As Chad had just spoken about, most organizations have a manual process when it comes to reviewing their chats, and managers maybe need to actually look and check to see whether further action needs to be taken or not. With our chat resolution, we can automate that process, which saves time and means that more time can be spent on higher value work, such as evaluating the quality of the chats. Many organizations lack the resources to do this from a time perspective, also by having consistent processes. And there's the challenge of bias. One manager might evaluate one chat differently to another or score in a slightly different way. The other challenges we often see is though sampling may be random, you can't actually ensure that when it's a manual process. With our system, we're able to address that so it's fairer for everyone. Another classic thing that we hear all the time is not only is it the time reviewing, but then how do we turn that review, those results into tangible coaching action items so that the agent can actually improve and provide better service in future. So Chad's going to go a little bit more into the solutions and how we can address all of those challenges we've just spoken about.
Perfect. So there's quite a few different ways that we address these within our AI QA solution. So first and foremost, we automatically evaluate 100% of those customer interactions, but you'll actually see as well a little bit later on, you can tweak that and fine tune exactly how many are being evaluated and within what criteria. This, of course, is going to maintain a consistent scoring across all of those agents that you have, all of your teams, from the different knowledge that you put into the system for accuracy, as well as the guidelines that you're going to create to make sure that it is consistent with your voice and your format. This reduces the bias entirely, makes it a more objective QA process, so there's zero subjectivity within, and it ensures a very fair and standardized assessment across the entire workforce. So there's never a situation where somebody is going to have that unfortunate feeling that, hey, maybe I'm being picked on. This completely eliminates that entirely. It's also going to identify all of those different opportunities that you're going to have. So you'll see the scoring, you pick those highly scored items and you assign it to other members, making sure that they can see and how this difficult situation was found out or this other opportunity was addressed to make sure that nothing slips through the pipelines. This also enables your managers to spend far less time going through these reviews and more time on actually developing the teams. So the easiest way we've talked about it internally to a lot of our customers is, you no longer have to go and find those pieces. It finds them for you. You then evaluate them further and take it to a separate level above. This also provides quality and compliance and your performance visibility at a far greater scale rather than having to do all of that manually and pull it up in a spreadsheet. So I touched on a lot of the pieces on how we pull it together, but here's a few screenshots of what it looks like behind the scenes. Here we're seeing our guidelines. These are effectively think of them as like a skill, effectively, what you need the agent to do in this particular circumstance. So at the top there, we have some soft skills, active listening. The agent should demonstrate awareness, be accurate and understanding and retain the information provided by the visitor. There's many of these that you can create. A few of them are pre-built, but of course, you can go in and customize and add as many of them in here as you need. This is your opportunity to add in effectively your core guidelines on how conversations should be handled and what situations need to be addressed in a specific way. And if we look at the very bottom one there, the secure handling of customer credentials, you'll see auto failure on the far right there is set to yes. This means that if at any moment this guideline were to fail, that chat is a fail on the guideline aspect of it. So you do have the ability to set that auto failure aside to make sure those more critical pieces are held to a much higher standard.
Awesome. So once the guidelines have been built out, the next thing that we can do is go through and actually create some reviews. As you can see here on the right, you've got the ability to customize the content that you're going to be pulling from. So in this case, we've maybe got the last 3 months or so from some live chats from this specific department or from a specific agent. I can give the review a name, a description, and then choose the review profile. So I've got specific things that I'm looking for in that review profile for these interactions. And I can create different ones. So if I have different teams that need to demonstrate different abilities or talk about different things in different types of interactions, I can really customize them for each. It's not one size fits all, which is awesome. You can also see that we can control the sampling rate. So we have the ability to do 100%, but if you've got tens of thousands of interactions and that's just too much, maybe you want to reduce this to, say, 50% or 20%. You have complete control over that and for each review that you do. So that's really nice. On the left there, you can see these are previous reviews that have been run, and you can see the number of chats that fall into the conditions that have been set based on the date, who's run the review, etc. And so you've always got a history of what's been done in the past, and you can continue creating them as and when you need.
Perfect. And these are all reviews that are done directly on the same support system that our support team is using. Here's one that we pulled that has actually got quite a few different pieces here pulling it together. Let's actually start on the very left-hand side though, because we haven't addressed specifically what accuracy is. Accuracy is going to be based off of the knowledge that you put into the system. So website data, knowledge base articles, files that you want to upload, anything and everything that you can put into the system in that fashion. And that will essentially address whether the key questions that the agent has provided answers to match what your knowledge base should have in there. In this case, we can see it was a 4 out of 5 overall, but I would like to highlight here that this is actually using a different language other than English. All of our content on our side is English, but our platform is a multilingual platform. And we can see that suggested response. So the third paragraph there in the accuracy column is actually in the visitor's language, is how it's suggesting that reply should have been. On the agent side, of course, they would type it out in English. It would do the auto translation, but it's just showing here that it does have a higher level understanding for multi-language support rather than just English only and having to do multiple layers of translation. It translates it once and then understands from there on out. In the middle, we do see that guideline score. We can see they got a 5 out of 5 in this case, and none of those key critical areas that would have failed have failed here. Or sorry, I say would have failed as if they did. They did not fail, which is why we see it was a 5 overall. If they would have failed maybe the diagnose before solution, we would have seen this at a 4.5 or even a 4 out of 5, but they of course passed all areas here. And then on the right, you can of course see the transcript so that while you are reviewing the score, you can go through and see what that agent has done in real time and kind of compare and contrast back and forth. We do have that create coaching opportunity button at the top, and that's that area we were talking about where if this is something you wanted to highlight and show other team members, maybe this agent went above and beyond, they handled a difficult situation, whatever type of interaction can come up in there, you can create a coaching opportunity off of this and effectively share this to all of the other agents that you want to, and they'll get it as a pop-up in the system as a notification so that they can come in here, review it, hit the checkbox saying that they have reviewed it, and learn from it.
We hope you have enjoyed learning a little bit more about our 3 newer AI products today through our AI Copilot, the AI Insight, and the AI QA. If you're curious to know more, for example, you want to see a demo or just have further questions that you'd like to get addressed, please do feel free to reach out to us. You can contact your account manager, email support@comm100.com, or chat with us via our 24/7 live chat. We'd be happy to help further. Thanks for your time, and we look forward to seeing you next time.